Russia is flexing its military muscle, sending the Tu-22M3 long-range bombers on a strategic flight over the Baltic Sea. It's a clear message from Moscow, coming right after Ukraine pulled off one of the most audacious attacks of this war, hitting Russian air bases deep inside Siberia and the far north with drones. We're talking about two separate attacks. In each case, Ukrainian operatives most likely smuggled the drones close to these heavily guarded airfields, perhaps hiding them in trucks. Then launched the strikes which destroyed, or at a minimum very severely damaged, several of Russia's prized Tu-22M3 bombers, supersonic, capable of carrying nuclear warheads, and the Tu-95MS, the iconic bear, still in service, a Cold War legend still in service that was also hit. We have not had a drone strike like this, a Ukrainian drone strike like this, inside Russia since October. So there's been a lull. We've seen some missile strikes, of course, launched from Ukraine into Russia, but this was something different. And Russia has responded now with these two deadly long-range bomber flights over the Baltic Sea. Now we've seen Russian bombers over the Baltic before. Of course, this is a very important strategic waterway, the Baltic Sea. It borders NATO countries Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, of course, not to mention Finland and Sweden, who are now members of NATO, or at least in the process of joining. So every time Russian bombers fly over the Baltic, NATO has to scramble its fighter jets to intercept. And we've seen it again and again. It's almost like a daily occurrence during the summer, where NATO and Russian and NATO aircraft are basically playing a very dangerous game of cat and mouse over the Baltic. This is the first time since those drone strikes that we've seen Russian bombers over the Baltic. If Ukraine can strike at these bomber bases deep inside Russia, hundreds of miles from the front lines, what's stopping them from striking other critical infrastructure? Perhaps oil refineries, pipelines, chemical plants, and strategic railways inside Russia. What will Russia's response be? Will it be more bomber flights? Will it be cyber attacks? Will it be heavier strikes against Ukrainian cities? This bears watching because, as we've said here many times on the newscast, this is not your grandfather's Cold War, where two nuclear superpowers kept each other in check. This is a different animal altogether.